Hello viewers, hope you are doing well. Today I will discuss an important and frequently asked question that why the people get a heart attack at a very young age. It is important to understand that heart attack occurs due to blockage of the blood vessels that supply blood to heart itself. And the process of this blockage or the initial cholesterol deposition in the blood vessels that ultimately leads to the blockage of blood vessels and heart attacks starts at a very early age, even at the age of 10 to 12 years. And the process of this blockage is termed multifactorial. The term multifactorial means that none of the factors can be blamed as a single contributor to the development of this blockage. And it is an interplay between a number of factors which ultimately leads to blockage of blood vessels. Some of these factors are genetics. For example, some people have a change in their genes which leads to increased coagulability in their blood, or in simple words, the clotting ability of their blood is increased, which leads to increased incidence of heart attack in these people in a very young age. Some people have such change in their genes which leads to disturbance in the proportion of good cholesterol and bad cholesterol in their blood, which ultimately leads to the rapidity in the progression of blockage of the blood vessels, which ultimately leads to heart attack at a very young age. Then is the family history. If any one of the parents or the siblings or the first cousins of a person gets a heart attack at a very young age, the chances of developing heart problem for that person are increased. Then some factors are called modifiable or acquired factors. These are modifiable as the control or modification of these factors can lead to decrease in the risk of developing a heart attack. The top of the list is diabetes mellitus or high blood sugar. Then comes hypertension or high blood pressure. If any person has a high blood pressure or a high blood sugar and it goes unrecognized, or even if it is recognized and goes untreated or poorly controlled, the chances of developing a heart attack at a very young age are increased. Then comes smoking. The people who smoke have an increased risk of developing heart attack at a very young age as compared to the people who don't smoke. Down the list is obesity. The people who have more than normal weight are at an increased risk of developing heart attack as compared to the people who have normal weight. Then comes overall stress level. As you all know, that nowadays is the era of competition. If any person is a student or a businessman or an office worker, the overall stress level has increased over the past decade or 2 decades, and it has led to an increase in the incidence of heart attacks at a young age. Another thing, in the recent years, it has been pointed out that vitamin D has an important role in the development of heart problems if somebody has vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is naturally produced in our body by our bones when we are exposed to sunlight. As in the recent years, the trend has increased towards indoor activities, and the exposure to sunlight activities and outdoor activities has decreased. So the people have relatively lower vitamin D levels in their blood, and decreased vitamin D level in the blood leads to an increased risk of developing a heart attack. Then comes our lifestyle. I will divide lifestyle into three parts. One are the eating habits, second sleep habits, and third is the physical activity. As we all know that in the recent years, the trend has increased towards junk foods and increased consumption of meat and decreased consumption of fresh fruit, fresh vegetables and fresh juices. So these also contribute towards the development of heart attack and increased speed of blockage of blood vessels at a young age, as fresh fruits and fresh juices contain antioxidants which protect our body from a number of diseases including heart attacks. Then comes sleep habits. It has been pointed out in recent years that the people who sleep less than 7 to 8 hours per day have an increased risk of developing a heart attack. Similarly, in a recent study published in 2020, it has been found that the people who do not have regular bedtime and regular waking time are at an increased risk of developing heart attacks. So the need of the hour is to regularize our sleep timings. We should have a proper bedtime and we should wake up at a proper time early in the morning. Then comes the physical activity. As in the recent years, the people have become more dependent on motorbikes, motor cars, and public transport vehicles. They walk less, and similarly, the children have less trend towards outdoor games and they like to sit more in front of the computers and like to use mobile. So the physical activity is reduced and the progression of blockage of blood vessels, which has already started at the age of 10 to 12 years, is rapidly increased and it leads to development of heart attack at young age. So the need of the hour is that we should modify our lifestyle, we should correct our eating habits, we should correct our sleep habits, we should encourage our youth as well as our children towards more physical activity, and if anybody has some of the modifiable risk factors like diabetes or hypertension or obesity or smoking, he should correct these factors or try to control these factors to protect himself from heart problems. I hope this information will be useful for you. Thank you.